Welcome to our council meeting. Folks, welcome back. It's the first meeting of a brand new four-year term, and I see a lot of familiar faces in the room, and I think congratulations to all. And we'll reserve our time in our meeting today to talk about the election, perhaps at the end during a nice round table. But before we start the meeting, we have to have the agenda approved. And I see a motion from Councillor Lane and seconded by Councillor Rice to approve the agenda. All in favor? Those opposed? And that's carried. Thank you very much. In recognition of the City of Mount Pearl's commitment to foster respectful and collaborative relationships with Indigenous peoples here in the City of Mount Pearl and beyond, we hereby acknowledge that the land on which we gather is the ancestral and unceded territory of the Beothuk and the Mi'kmaq. Mount Pearl and the broader metro region continue to be home to diverse Indigenous peoples, including First Nations, Inuit, and Métis. Council, you may recall the last meeting was September 2nd, 2025. The minutes are there. Note in the e-scribe, it could be an attachment if you want to refer to it, or there's a PDF, I think, over in the right-hand panel. So if I'm doing something out of the ordinary, just let me know. But I'd like for us to adopt the minutes, but only once you folks tell us that they're all okay. Are there any errors or omissions? Hearing none, I'm going to call for a motion. Thank you, Councillor Fry. Seconded by Councillor Randall. We adopt the minutes. All in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Any business arising, folks? Hearing none, I'll move to the next item, which is the special public council meeting held during the swearing-in ceremony, September 25th, where we approved the deputy mayor. And there's really nothing more to read than that, than the fact. And I'll call for a motion now to adopt those minutes. And thank you, Councillor Locke, seconded by Deputy Mayor Kiley. All in favor? Those opposed? And that's carried as well. Just bear with me. I got to let my fingers do the talking. No business arising. We have proclamations. And I'd like to acknowledge that we are here today to acknowledge October 22nd, which is tomorrow, Hump Day here in the City of Mount Pearl. Proclamation related to International Stuttering Awareness Day. And I'm pleased to invite Greg O'Grady with the Stuttering Awareness Association of Newfoundland and Labrador to come and join us. Greg, if you would, please. Greg, with your permission, I'll read the proclamation. That work for you? And then we'll engage you some. Good to see you. Welcome. Welcome back. Whereas today is intended, or tomorrow, is intended to raise public awareness of stuttering, a poorly understood disorder that affects about 1% of our population, totaling approximately 70 million worldwide and approximately 350,000 Canadians. And whereas today the Newfoundland and Labrador Stuttering Association focuses on its mandate to provide advocacy and support for people who stutter, while representing a diverse group of individuals with varied occupations, cultural identities, personal experiences, and accomplishments. Whereas tomorrow, millions of preschool and school-age children, adolescents, adults, seniors face the daily physical, emotional, and psychological challenges of living with a stutter, including stereotyping and discrimination. Whereas tomorrow, we must ensure that these preschool and school-age children, adolescents, adults, and seniors who stutter can access affordable and effective speech therapy if they wish, and find help through the combined efforts of speech-language pathologists or professionals and consumer support organizations. Whereas tomorrow is an opportunity to support speech-language pathologists and allied health professionals who work with those who stutter. And whereas tomorrow is an opportunity to ensure that the voices of people who stutter are heard by influencing and advancing issues relevant to people who stutter at all political levels. And whereas tomorrow marks an international commitment to educate people about this complex disorder, to work toward the prevention of stuttering in children, and to support continued research to find the causes of stuttering. Therefore, I, the mayor, on behalf of my colleagues on council, we do hereby proclaim October 22nd, 2025 as International Stuttering Awareness Day. And Greg, it's my pleasure to welcome you again to the chamber. And I have a microphone here for you to speak, and everybody can hear you.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Well, first of all, I am a person who stutters, and so I'll read my notes here because if I don't have the notes, I actually tend to ramble a lot, So, okay, so OISAD Day is all about raising awareness about stuttering. Many of you are wondering, why is a grown man wearing this name tag, And well, it's all about raising awareness about stuttering. One of the greatest fears that a person who stutters has is being asked what one's name is. And seriously, that's the biggest fear we all have. And sorry about this. I am, I am often, I am often reminded of an analogy of a deer frozen sorry, I'll start this again. I am often reminded of an analogy of a deer frozen in fear, standing in front of the headlights of an oncoming vehicle. When asked this question, what is your name, foreseeing what is coming, when struggling to respond, a person who stutters often feels that death would be more of an option. Seriously. Or most people who do not stutter being asked your name is taken for granted. Yet the global community of people who stutter, this question is a dramatic question. So now to share personal memory, decades ago, prior to taking speech therapy for my severe stutter. Now I'm stuttering now, but this is nothing compared to my severe stutter years ago. So when I was asked what my name was, I respond as follows: look now, look now, look now, look now, look now, look now, look now. My name is. Look now, look now, look now, look now. Now, this is the way that I used to respond. And then can you imagine all the looks I used to get? People may think I'm having a stroke or something. So this, this a experience by many people who stutter is one of the key reasons why the NLSA sorry about this. Whenever I talk about stuttering, I always get very emotional, as you all know anyhow. Oh, thank you. So, this experience by many people who stutter is one of the key reasons why the NLSA established a million of things I need to say. 1K, walk, run, and roll for stuttering awareness, and bursary program fundraiser. These bursaries help people who stutter to receive speech therapy so that they are able to say one's name. Last month, the NLSA held its 8th annual event. This year was successful. The NLSA is able to award 6 $1,000 bursaries to people who stutter and others with communication challenges to receive the treatment to be able to say their name. Since 2018, the NLSA has awarded over $22,000 worth of bursaries. Yet sadly, the NLSA has only touched the tip of the iceberg need. for financial support for bursaries. You know, a special shout out and thank thank you for Mayor David Aker, who who spoke at last month's Walk, Run, and Roll, and to MHA Lucy Stoyles and MHA Paul Lane, who also spoke, and also to Councilor Bill and to Lieutenant Tennant. Thanks, Len. And Bill spoke last year as well. Thank you. And a big shout out and thank you to the city of Mount Pearl. For supporting these events. Tomorrow is ISAD Day, and the the NLSA appreciates if the city councilors would were would wear your name tag to raise awareness about stuttering. So thank you, City Council, for declaring October 22nd as ISAD Day in the great city of Mount Pearl. I vowed before I came in here I would not get emotional, but it happens. Thank you all.
Greg, we really admire your courage. They say you should never do public speaking unless you know what you're talking about. And I thought you spoke really, really well. And I want to say one thing to you. You think about the broader community when you have your commentary and your actions, raising 22,000 plus in a short few years. That also might be the tip of the the iceberg for fundraising as well. It was really good to see you at the tractor. What was that, about a month ago? Was it more or less, right? Yeah. But I think you've done a really good job getting things off the ground. And if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So glad you and Bruce live here in Mount Pearl. I'm even happier that you're from Gander. That's really perfect, right? But you've really, you spoke well. And I think you're amongst friends here. And I think I want to say on behalf of council, what a great job you're doing. Our gratitude is extended to you. Council, anybody want to chime in? Councilor Randall.
Thank you, Greg. You know, this is your 6th or 7th year coming here to the City Council, and I look forward to you coming in for your presentation because you are amongst friends. You know, the fun thing about this is that when you're emotional, you and I share a lot of things together because, you know, when you're emotional and you're passionate about something, your emotion comes through, and that's a good thing. So it's really good to see that. But you said that you had tendency to ramble, and I was saying, where's Bruce? Because Bruce was your guy to make sure that you didn't ramble. So we kind of miss. But, you know, one thing that we should talk about is the Stuttering Association would not happen if it wasn't for you. You know, it's outstanding. I mean, the walk roll and the walk we did there last week, a couple of weeks ago, there was a good crowd of people, and I've seeing progress from year to year to year. And there's more people there coming, and the funds that the province gave, you know, no, thanks to you, Greg. I mean, it's great. I mean, most of us don't know about the Stuttering Association. I didn't know what the Stuttering Association was, but now, thanks to you, I do. But the people that you help, and you can see the people that were there that you helped, you know, it's well done, Greg, and I really appreciate everything you do, and keep it up. Thank you very much.
We have Councilor Lane.
Greg, thank you so much for being here again this year. And the advocacy that you're doing is so important. I've had students in the past who stutter, and I currently have students who stutter as well. And it's so good that you're there to make them know that they're not alone. And one thing that a student said to me that really resonated with me is he said, Miss, he said, you know, I stutter. And he said, people think they're helping me by trying to finish my sentences before I get the chance to say them. He said, but I really just want them to listen so that I can speak. And that really stuck with me because people may not realize that when people are stuttering, you know, you're not helping them by trying to fill in the blanks. Like, sit back and listen and give them the chance to say what they have to say. And I just think that's really important too. So thank you again for being here, Greg. And you definitely are amongst friends. We all certainly love to see you coming. So thank you very much.
Greg, we love to do pictures. Would you join us? please, and we'll do some social media too. Council, if you would, please. Now, the next part of our meeting is going to be about foster families in Newfoundland and Labrador. And two special guests here today. We brought in Elizabeth Daw, who's originally from Marystown, and she brought in with her Kelly Hodder, who's the executive director of the Newfoundland Labrador Family Foster Families. So I'd like to invite both of you up. We'll read the proclamation and then we'll perhaps have a little conversation because I think this is really important too. I think it's really important to Elizabeth as much as anybody. Hey. So whereas Newfoundland and Labrador foster families provide a safe and nurturing environment for the children and youth in their homes, and whereas in the City of Mount Pearl, we recognize the important role of foster families in the child protection system in our province and the role of Newfoundland and Labrador Foster Families Association. Whereas foster families are celebrated as valued members of their communities for their contribution to the well-being of our province and our country. Therefore, I, the Mayor of Mount Pearl, on behalf of my colleagues on council, we do hereby proclaim the whole month, the month of October, which includes a lot of other events and no more important than this one. So we do hereby proclaim October to be Foster Families Month here in the city of Mount Pearl. And I'm going to wonder now if I got the microphone on, who would like to speak? Both of you? One of you? Now, I know it's important to you, Elizabeth, so maybe we'll get to Kelly, then Elizabeth.
I thought she was going to do the speech for me. That's okay. Thank you, Council, for having us here this afternoon. We're thrilled to be here. I am Kelly Hodder, Executive Director of Foster Families NL, and this is my daughter, Elizabeth. Fostering is very important to our family. Elizabeth will speak to that. My sister is a foster parent who is fostering two and has adopted two from foster care. So Elizabeth has inherited 4 cousins from foster care. And those 4 boys have become a very special part of our family. We can't imagine our lives without them. My sister is a very brave woman. She has 6 boys under her roof, plus her husband, so 7 boys. So fostering is very special to us on a personal note. In Newfoundland and Labrador, there are currently 900 plus children in the system, and that is in 550 foster homes throughout the province. That's Newfoundland and Labrador. Unfortunately, we have seen a decrease in the number of foster homes in this province. Specifically since COVID, we've seen a dramatic decrease in homes. I would consider it to be at a crisis point. So that is a large part of the work that we do at the association. We really need to raise awareness about the need for more homes. We do a lot of advocacy work to improve what circumstances are like for foster families that we have. We want to improve recruitment and retention. And because ultimately, when we have fewer homes, we see the impacts that it has on the children. We have kids in rural Newfoundland and Labrador who come into care and they have to leave their communities because there's no foster homes in their communities. For children in Labrador, that means being put on a plane and being flown to another part of Labrador or being flown down here to the island and being placed in a non-Indigenous foster home. It means children having to leave their schools, their friends, their relatives, their pets, their everything, and go to a strange place in order to be kept safe. So we need to see more foster homes in every community, urban and rural. I'm very pleased to say that we do have a very healthy foster family community here in Mount Pearl. We have some wonderful foster families here that I'm proud to say that I had the pleasure of knowing and working with. They're doing incredible work. Our communities are stronger and healthier because of our foster families. I will always say that a community is only going to be as strong as the bare bones in the homes. Our homes need to be strong, and foster families are making that difference. So when children are in an unsafe situation and they go into a foster home, they're given an opportunity for stability, for love, for nurturing, and perhaps maybe to feel safe for the first time in their lives. So it's very important work that they're doing. It's very challenging work, but we need them and we need more of them. So I'm thrilled to be here to raise that awareness, and I'm hopeful that some of your fine residents of this city will maybe hear this and will consider looking into it a little bit further and see if it's something that's right for them. So thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. I imagine it only took maybe 30 seconds for Elizabeth to answer the question. Do you want to go in and see counsel for this today?
It was a very quick decision. Any time with the nature of the work that I do, it's a lot of community work, and she's fortunate that she gets to tag along with mom sometimes. It's kind of like take your kid to work day. So she's always jumping at the opportunity to come along and do the fun stuff. So she was thrilled to do this.
You want to speak about your experience and how important it is, Elizabeth?
Want to tell them your cousins' names and how old they are?
There's Grayson. He's 6. He's 6 years old. And there's Michael. He's 9, I think.
Yeah, they're brothers.
And they're brothers. And there's Kylan and Kyrie. Kylan is 9, I think. Yep. And Kyrie is 8 years old. And they're brothers.
And so they came into my sister's care as babies. And of course, they've grown up in that home. 2 of them have gone on to be adopted. My sister's in the process of trying to adopt the other 2. So she has a very busy home, but I can't tell you the amount of love and happiness and joy that those children have brought to our families. My parents inherited 4 extra grandchildren. I got 4 extra nephews. It's been wonderful. The rewards of fostering are many, and we can't imagine life without them. So fostering is a wonderful thing to do.
Kelly, it must be really challenging if there's 5 pork chops. There's 4 foster kids.
You can't imagine the cartload of stuff my sister gets at Costco. She spends a lot of money on groceries.
Yeah, and that's the other reality too.
Yes.
It's emotionally, it must be very challenging, but also financially too.
Yeah, I've been doing a big piece of that work. Foster care compensation rates haven't increased since 2012. And of course, we know inflation has increased dramatically since then. So I've really been kind of trying to start to hold the government's feet to the fire on that. And now with the new government incoming, I plan on continuing that work because foster parents, they need funds to do the work they do. They're not in it for the money, but you need money to do it because it's not cheap.
And we're always the champion for anything related to families and, keeping families together. We did some work with Big Brothers, Big Sisters. Was it last year or the year before related to, they're experiencing something similar to what you mentioned about since COVID, the number of Big Brothers, Big Sisters dropped off. So we were more involved in the promotional effort with a lot of other organizations as well.
Absolutely.
Right? So
I think,
happy to support you.
thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
How about a snap?
Absolutely.
Oh, sorry. I looked around, I didn't see any harms, but now I'm doing, may need this. Councillor Rice, you might.
Oh, no, I'll keep it short and sweet, but I just want to comment. I want to say thank you very much for coming in. You really appreciate it. I just want to make a comment. I mean, I got a first cousin, Terry and Sonia Walsh, out in O'Purlican, who's been fostering for many, I'm sure you know, for many years. And every time I go out around the bay, I say to them, I certainly commend you for what you guys are doing. And they've took Indigenous families in, brothers and sisters and stuff, and they've been doing it now 12 years, something like that. So last 2 years ago, one of my daughters actually sponsored a family Christmas time. So that's what they did. They decided to sponsor a family instead of buying Christmas gifts for themselves. Her and a boyfriend, fiance now. And then last year, 3 of their friends did the same thing. So they had 4 of them in total sponsoring a family, foster family. I thought it was a fantastic idea, and they felt really good about doing it. And nobody never asked them to do it, but they did it on their own. You know, they got together and said, "What are we going to do this year?" And it does your heart good to know that you raised up kids that are doing that stuff. So, kudos to them for doing that. So, we're all affected by it. Yep. Thanks.
Anybody else? Okay, let's see who snapped for social media. Folks, in the agenda, I neglected to seek approval for the September 25th public meeting, which was a special meeting related to, I believe, a CHIF application. So that's there. So just to adopt, please, on motion, I'm thinking Councillor Antle, second by the Deputy Mayor. All in favor? Opposed? And that's carried. Thank you. No, September 25th, I think is the one I missed. That's what the text message said. Oh, okay, yeah. So we approved 3. Okay. So, going over here now, I'd like to invite Councillor Lane, who's already been sworn in. We had her swearing in a week ago. That sound about right? A week ago, 2 weeks ago. And Councillor Lane couldn't make it that night, so she's been sworn in because we had to meet some statutory requirements. But she's here today to read her oath of office, and it's all yours.
Thank you very much. It was definitely disappointing to miss the ceremony with my colleagues, but I'm thrilled to be back on council and definitely happy to be reading my oath of office today. I, Chelsea Lane, do solemnly swear that I am fully qualified to hold the office of councillor for the municipality of Mount Pearl, to which I have been elected. I have not knowingly contravened the Municipal Elections Act respecting any matter in relation to my election or appointment. I will faithfully, to the best of my ability, perform the duties and responsibilities of my office and will not allow any direct or indirect monetary or other personal or private interest to influence my conduct or affect my public duties. And I will comply with the municipality's code of conduct and undertake all mandatory training requirements. I will disclose any personal, direct, or indirect monetary interest that I have in a matter before the council and will not participate in the discussion or vote on any such matter. I will, as required by law, file an annual conflict of interest disclosure statement, and I will, as required by the Municipality Election Act, file a campaign contributions disclosure statement within the required time period established by the Act. So help me God.
Well, congratulations and welcome on that note. And we'll talk more about the election, but on behalf of our city, welcome back, Councillor Lane. Next, Council, you see some correspondence. Welcome from Mr. Rob Nolan. Executive Director, I believe, with Municipalities Newfoundland and Labrador. And then there's another item coming up for resolutions, which, by the way, is, for better or for worse, the deadline is tomorrow. So I think we have 3 resolutions. They're going to be tabled here today. You want to do that now, council? Might as well, hey? So we have one about elections, one about election expenses, one about e-bikes. I got in the order, not necessarily. I think Deputy Mayor Cottle, you're going to talk about the elections part. Councilor Ramsey, you're going to talk about the e-bikes. Those the e, and Councilor Locke, you're going to talk about election expenses and reimbursements. So sticking with the E theme, I'm going to ask the Deputy Mayor to just table with a little bit of information, and I'm going to ask, likely at the end, unless you object, for approval to send all 3 to M&L and let them do a bit more vetting, with the risk, though, that some of these are not necessarily in our jurisdiction. Over to you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Your Worship. So tonight I'd like to speak to Resolution 1, and this is regarding the City of Mount Pearl wanting to put forward a review of the Municipal Elections Act. You know, when we are talking about this in a larger sense, the biggest specific issue here is that when we are going to an election, we got to think about accessibility, inclusion, and ways to make the democratic process more accessible to everybody. So what we have looked at, and I have to thank staff and the team here with looking at the history of the issue and the recent incidences, for instance, with regards to accessibility and diversity and inclusion, the updates of what is now an outdated act, as far as we're concerned, is that right now we've had, even in this election, a candidate with physical disabilities, that would be myself, another with developmental disabilities, and we also, in Newfoundland and Labrador, had our first Black candidate. Specifically around updating is not only regarding accessibility, diversity, inclusion, but also looking at technology and ways we can better access and allow voters to access voting in more of an effective and inclusive way, is looking at technology and, you know, the opportunity to vote online. And there's many municipalities right now, examples and jurisdictional scans that outline that and are doing well with that. And similarly, when we look at election notices, right now we have in the act, it's noted that we need to have a newspaper company. And, you know, media has certainly changed to that. And we are looking at also recognizing the digital content and the importance of identifying other ways in which it is updated with regards to modern language when it comes to how we get notices out, and again, utilizing digital platforms as an important thing. I've just made a few notes because this is an item that is incredibly personal to me. I think also it's something that is going to benefit many of us, well, all of us actually in Newfoundland and Labrador. And knowing that it's post-election and, you know, we're getting back in the routine of things, I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to connect to so many people throughout the campaign. However, it's important to recognize some campaigns and elections are designed, you know, in a way to be intense, short periods, and for anyone stepping into the political ring, it can be costly. And for a person living with a disability, it's sometimes an unequal measure of success. And what I mean by that, by an unequal measure of success, is that what is expected of a candidate, physically walking upstairs, being able to walk quickly, long distances, getting residents that are then challenge themselves with bimobility to physically get out to vote. These tasks are not indicators of a good leader. What we can bring to the table, our vision, our commitment, and our ability to listen. It can only really measure, for all intents and purposes, a candidate's physical ability. So I am reminded certainly of the own barriers I have faced throughout becoming an amputee and a wheelchair user and an individual with chronic illness. And I want to be clear to be able to reach, you know, being able to reach out to as many candidates as possible is important, and it is vital, as it should be. But that means also creating opportunities that are offered or not offered to a candidate to access voters. So the act stands out currently, it really favors able-bodied individuals as an example. So we know that, whether you have an ability or not an ability to move in a certain way, doesn't equate to leadership. It doesn't equate to diversity, and nor someone's full ability to participate in the democratic process. And I don't mean to sound discouraging, because I also believe that we have right in front of us an ability to change all that. And I truly believe the path to addressing this is in front of us right now, and that we need to really start talking about it and advocating in all the ways we can. So 4 years is not far away in an election cycle, so we can change the system at least, by enhancing inclusion and in our election process. And that's why I strongly and proudly support the M&L resolution put forward by us city and colleagues.
Good stuff. Sound like you're ready to take it to the floor.
Yes, indeed.
Good, good, good. So in terms of submitting it to M&L as a resolution, anybody got any further comments on that? Well done, Deputy Mayor. Okay, that's part one. Part two is going to be e-bikes. Thank you again, Deputy Mayor. Over to you, Councillor Randall.
Thank you, Your Worship. I never made notes. I think most of us talked, while we were on the campaign trail, we talked to many of the residents, and they all had issues with e-bikes, scooters, bikes in general. And this resolution really speaks to that. We all need some kind of regulations on e-bikes and scooters. Scooters are getting more and more popular on our trails, and there's no age limit on these bikes, on these scooters right now. I saw kids this afternoon, 6 or 7 years old, riding scooters on the road with no regulations. So, without reading the full document here, it goes to M&L that the province should get involved in some way to regulate these bikes. Some other provinces have it where all bikes, including, pedal bikes, e-bikes, scooters, are all licensed. And that way there's some regulation, because our trails are respectful trails. We want to keep our trails respectful, but we need some kind of regulation to include these bikes so they're safer. So there's some mandatory training on these scooters. We're selling scooters now to people and just get on the trail and go on. So our resolution is that the province jump in here and move forward with this regulations. And that's everything for me, Your Worship. Thank you.
Thank you. A very current issue. Okay to submit it to M&L. Anybody got any further comments on that? All right. Thanks, Councillor Randall. And I'm going to now turn it over to Councillor Locke for the third resolution possibility.
Thank you, Mayor. This one has to do with the reimbursement of campaign expenses. This came to mind following the provincial election, when I learned that candidates provincially are entitled to 1/3 reimbursement of their campaign expenses, up to the quote, up to the cap that's provided, provided that the candidate receives either as acclaimed or receives 15% of the popular vote. So in the spirit of, discussions we've had around this table, Deputy Mayor just spoke to accessibility and reducing barriers and trying to encourage more people to vote. It piqued my interest to see if this is something that M&L might be willing to further investigate and promote across the province. Because some of these campaigns are expensive. It's okay for incumbents, because you don't have to spend as much, because we can rely on former signs and experience and stuff like that. But new candidates can be confronted with tens of thousands of dollars, and if they're unsuccessful, well, there's no form of reimbursement. So I was just curious if this is something that M&L might be interested in pursuing. I don't know if it can be a cash reimbursement. Maybe it's a tax credit or some kind of tax incentive for candidates, similar to what volunteer firefighters get. But again, in the spirit of trying to the Deputy Mayor's point, open this electoral process and running for community leadership, financial barriers would certainly prevent a lot of people to do so. So I know in some areas, other jurisdictions, and thanks to our staff for doing that, in Quebec, for example, Elections Quebec oversees and reimburses eligible municipal candidates in accordance with legislation specific to individual cities or townships there. So I know it needs to be further fleshed out, but I'd welcome this to go to M&L, where we'd have a greater in-depth discussion and see if this is an issue for our friends in the 274 municipalities right across the province. Thank you, Mayor.
Any questions pertaining to that? Councillor Rantle?
I think this is a great resolution. I just chatted with Councillor Locke on it last night. Can we add to that? Like, is there any way like the money you spend could be tax deductible? Because right now I know provincial and federal is tax deductible, but the money we spend should be somehow tax deductible. Can we add that to that resolution if possible?
Sorry about that, Chair. Didn't even jump on. No, a fair point. And I think, again, speaking with some other folk about this, whatever vehicle we use, it's about helping the candidates, offset some of the costs to put their names forward to be a municipal councillor. So that could be a cash reimbursement. It could be a tax incentive. It could be some kind of grant. It could, you could write off your taxes. Like we can't, all of our, out-of-pocket expenses right now, we have to absorb that,
I know this is not the place to talk about it, but I just like to have, when you run for municipal office, make it, as we're talking about, accessible, but not financially crippling, right? So somehow that we could help other people,
Deputy Mayor?
I absolutely think this intersects with inclusivity. And when you think about it, if you have, say, a disability, you're going to require more resources to go into a campaign. More than likely, you're going to want to get brochures out for the doors that you can't hit. There might be ways in which you're going to have to get additional supports and staff or whatever it may be. So I absolutely agree with this. This is an incredible way in which we're looking at it in an intersection way. The more kind of barriers we can address, the more inclusive we are. So yeah, I'm in strong support of this, and whatever way it may look like, as Councillor Antle had mentioned, reimbursement or if we're looking at a grant or cash, either way, I think I'm in strong support of this.
So I think, yeah, you got to be careful sometimes with the how, because MNL will not put forward something that's a federal responsibility, like tax policy. That's the danger. But I think the sentiment is here today, and I think you're going to be ready for the debate. So I suspect if they all make it to the MNL floor, I'm looking at Deputy Mayor Kiley going to MNL, Councillor Randall going to MNL, and Councillor Locke going to MNL now, right? So here we go. So what I would ask, given the short notice here, we need to get a motion of council just to say to the folks over there that it was approved. So I'll go in order of speakers. If the Deputy Mayor would move it and Councillor Randall would second it, is that fair? So done. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Now we're going to go over to the corporate services area. CAO, I'm going to call them function areas or departments. We're doing it new these days, and the lead for that, and the seconder will be Councillor Locke, but the lead over to you, Councillor Rantle, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Be gentle. It's my first reading this with the e-scribe. I'll try to be as concise as possible. The first one is, number one is invoices for approval, totaling $1,345,540.49. And you can see them all in your kit. I won't go through them all, but just to name a few there so you can see them. Amtrak for truck rental is $10,695. Some work on the refrigeration center for $39,968.25. Without going through all these are for December sorry about that, October the 21st, and I so move.
So moved by Councillor Rantle. Seconded by Councillor Locke. And any questions or comments? All in favor? Contraminded? Perfect. Adopted. Thank you.
Okay, number two is our payment register, our payment register and a purchase P card is all in your kit there. I'm moving really quick. These are for the total, for our kit, it's a total of $5,487,189.96. And for the purchase report card for July 26th to September 25th, 2025 for $799,420.50. And these are a long period of time because council and this kind of stuff. So they work from August the 27th to October the 16th, and I so move. Good.
It's information, call for questions, please.
Good. And, after these, they'll go pretty easy. We have some professional
No,
development
wait, no,
training.
just make sure nobody had a question. Okay, all back to you, sir.
Thank you. I got to say, this new e-scribe is fabulous, guys. I'm doing really good. Second one. Doing really good. Self-praise is no praise.
You think you're doing good? Miss
Uh,
Pico has actually got the motions already updated as we're here on the fly here, and I'm thinking, like, what happened to my screen? Back to you, Councillor.
We have some professional training. There's two here, but I'll do them separately. The first one is some professional training for the mayor. As the mayor alluded to, we have M&L coming up in Corner Brook in November the 20th to 22nd. And this is quite important for us as councillors and mayors to attend these associations and these meetings. There's so many things happening, throughout all the province. And, sometimes we have a decision to make and we're not alone. So, we're talking to other councillors and other mayors, and they say they do it this way, or they ask Mount Pearl how to do it. And it's quite valuable for us as new councillors and, new council and mayor. And I certainly approved, I certainly resolved that. I'm looking for a resolution here now. I move that the department recommends approval of the Mayor Acre to attend the M&L Conference Trade Show in Corner Brook from November 20th to 25th and 22nd. I so move.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Randall. Again, second by Councillor Locke. All in favor? And those opposed? Thank you. Carried.
Perfect. I'm getting to know where everything's to. Number 4 is a little bit easier. It's professional training for the Deputy Mayor, Councillors Locke, Fry, Antle and Rice to also attend the M&L Conference. And this is in Corner Brook. And like I said, it's really invaluable for us to go out there and learn this as a trade show. A lot of times we see new things that we can bring back to the city and discuss with the directors. And I certainly, the department recommends approval to attend the M&L Trade Show in Corner Brook from November 20th to 22nd, and I so move.
Again, moved and seconded for Deputy Mayor Connolly, Councillor Locke, Councillor Fry, Councillor Randall, Councillor Rice. All in favor? Those opposed? Carried.
Number 5, more professional training. I mean, our professional training is fabulous. It's as good as it gets us an opportunity to go out into the marketplace and find out what others are doing. And this is for our CAO, Cassie Rideout, to attend the Municipal Communication Conference in Toronto from November 24th to 26th. Same thing. It's quite invaluable and it's great learning. And the department recommends the approval of the CAO, Cassie Rideout, to attend the Municipal Communication Conference in Toronto in November in Toronto, Ontario, from November 24th to 26th, and I so move.
Busy Beavers, moved by Councillor Antle, and second by Councillor Locke. All in favor? Those opposed? And that's carried as well. One more coming.
Corporate services, busy people. This is professional training. Again, they're quite invaluable for us to go out to the community and learn more and see what others are doing. And this is for our Director of Recreation and Community Services, Community Safety, Jason Collins, to attend the Canadian Parks Recreation Association Conference in Ottawa from November 23rd to the 25th. The department recommends approval of, one second. There we go. Now we got it. The department recommends the approval of the Director of Recreation and Community Safety, Jason Collins, to attend the Canadian Parks and Recreation Association Conference in Ottawa from November 23rd to November 23rd to the 25th, 2025. And I so move.
Again, moved and seconded. All in favor? And those opposed? Carried as well.
And that's it for corporate services, Your Worship. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to clarify that mine was listed as PD, but normally that's listed as city travel. So just a little clarification. I think that's more of a CAO, more of a budgeting thing, right? Okay. So now bear with me. We're going to move on to Public Works. And I'm looking for the lead, and that would be Councillor Fry, and if necessary, seconder Councillor Rice. Is that right? Over to you, Councillor Fry.
Thank you, Your Worship. First on our agenda is snow clearing services contract. I know it's early, but you can never be too prepared. The city entered a snow clearing services contract with Farrell's Excavating Limited on November the 22nd, 24, in the amount of $216,200, including HST. And that's subject to adjustments that as may be required in accordance with the general conditions of the contract. And the contract commenced on December the 1st of last year, 24, and ended on March 31st this year. There is an option to extend the contract by increments of 1 year for a period of up to no more than 2 years, upon the same terms and conditions. The agreement includes a guaranteed payment of $100,000 plus HST, regardless of whether any equipment is utilized during the season. So the recommendation is to extend the existing snow services contract with Farrell's Excavating Limited for an additional 1-year term for the period of December 1st, 25 to March 31st, 26, and I so move.
It is moved by Counselor Fry, and thank you, second by Counselor Rice. We've done this now for, I think this is the third year that we will be doing it for, maybe fourth? Fourth year, right? So it's just an insurance plan, I guess you could say. Any comments, questions, council? Hearing none, I'll call a question. All in favor? Contrary-minded? And we have that carried. Back to you.
Thank you. Next on our agenda is the supply and delivery of flowers contract. Similar to the last contract, the city entered into a supply and delivery of flowers contract with Pat's Plants and Gardens. This was on November the 15th of 23, and in the amount of $57,147.24, also including HST. So this was for a period of 2 years, from 2024 and 2025, with the option of extending for 1 additional year in 2026. The amount to extend would be $32,927.69, HST included. So the department recommends the extension of this existing supply and delivery of flowers contract with Pat's Plants and Gardens for an additional 1 year, the term for 2026. And before I move this, I just want to give a shout out to our Public Works team this year for the incredible job they did on the gardens and the flowers. It was really a knockout this time around. So having said that, I so move.
Moved by Counselor Fry, seconded by Counselor Rice. Counselor or the director, what is the cost of this? I think we should, you said it, I just didn't note it, that's all. I know you said the 100,000 for Farrell's and 30 odd?
$32,927.69,
My fault. Thank you very, very much. That's good
including
stuff.
HST.
Any comments? Any further questions? I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Back to you.
And finally, for us this evening is just for information purposes, it's a Public Works status report. So road work continues on our asphalt repairs and street sweeping, maintenance holes and catch basin repairs. Our Parks Division are working continuously on maintenance on sports fields. Trail trimming is ongoing, and a new playground structure for the Yetman Drive has been installed, which is awesome. Our Fleet Division has ongoing service and maintenance. Snow clearing equipment is being inspected and prepared for the coming season. The UTM Division are following up with general calls, water and sewer repairs, leak detection, catch basin cleaning, lift station inspections and maintenance, and finally, the water levels at Babel's Big Pond as of October the 14th are here in your kit for your information. And that's it for me this evening, Your Worship. Thank you.
Very good. Over to you, Counselor Locke.
Thank you. Just having a look down through the Babel's Big Pond level here. A little alarming looking at that, the decrease. I think Friday I saw last evening, Director, that they were looking for 20 to 25 millimeters of rain. I'm just curious, is there any talks at the regional level about tighter measures? Because listening to the mayor from Torbay, now they're in a water crisis as well down there. They're looking at redirecting some water from I think a river, Thomas's River or something, to try to bring the levels up before freeze. Because if they don't get if it catches over, then they're going to be in a precarious situation. Just curious, given that we haven't seen these levels since 2009, and there hasn't been an abundance of rainfall, any measures to? I know we're doing a bang-up job here in the city for water conservation, but I'm just curious regionally.
So thank you. That's a great question. So we're in consultation with Regional Water on a regular basis. So right now, the most preventative measurement that everybody's taken is being water-wise, asking all municipalities, everybody, every resident, to be really conservative about your water usage. To date, I'm not aware of any extra plan that Baybolds or the regional water system have taken to change this water level. But to your point, there is some precipitation anticipated for the end of this week. Based on all the numbers, and you can see from the graph, like generally this time of year, we should start seeing an increase, but it's really participation, it depends on Mother Nature at this point.
There's no additional measures at this time. I know St. John's has talked about doing a little bit more, and everybody's talking about water conservation. But I guess the question is there an order about to be issued? And that's not being talked about in the region, I don't think at all. That's fair?
Not,
Sorry, Mayor. Is that something we can do? Yep, the CEO wants to speak.
So just to add on what Glenn was saying, I spoke to the city manager for St. John's last week and inquired similarly. And, as Glenn mentioned, we're in constant discussion. However, at this point, I specifically asked if there's additional measures or any incoming mandatory orders. And the answer at this time is no, but obviously we're going to continue to review it on a regular basis, noting the water levels.
Yeah, and in a way, it's too late, right? Because typically, water consumption tends to increase in summer months when people tend to do gardening and the like. Right now, we're at the mercy of weather, I think, to top up the pond, right? But I can say to the director, our leak detection is second to none, so we're doing our share, and I would hope, I should say, that any discussion at the regional level would include who's doing their fair share for leak detection so that everybody can continue to have the water they need for all our communities and families.
Well, I agree with you, Mayor, 100%. And as Director Dolleman pointed out here, typically, if you look at the graph since 2009, mid-September, we started to see an increase. We're not seeing that. It's been a steady decrease and steady. So I think we can't just wait and hope for Mother Nature to rain on us. I'd like to see a little more pressure put on because, like I said, we could have frost in 6 weeks and then what? So I'd be interested to see. I'm reassured from CEO Rideout that, the question has been asked and they're considering it. But I hope we hear something back sooner rather than later. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, so I think that was the tail end of the report from Councillor Fry. We're now, bear with me. Yeah, I got to look for the active button. Thank you, Ms. Pico. Recreation, and we are talking about the lead being Deputy Mayor Kiley. All yours.
Thank you, Your Worship. And it's a delight to be working with the division now with Recreation and the wonderful team there. And so it is also my pleasure to recommend and put forward this recommendation of a decision note. Bear with me. It was open and it was, here we are. Okay. So it is absolutely my pleasure. And specifically, we're going to be looking at the approval to release final installments of operating subsidy for Admiralty House Communications Museum for 2025. And at the February 4th, 2025 Public Council meeting, Council approved to release the first installment of Admiralty House Communication Museum's 2025 operating subsidy in the amount of $57,500. And on September 17th, 2025, the museum manager requested the second installment of the 2025 operational grant for Admiralty House Communications Museum. And so the department is now requesting approval for the release of the second and final installment for 2025. And with that, the department recommends the approval to, my recommendation here is the department recommends the approval to release the final installment of the Admiralty House Communications Museum's 2025 operating subsidy in the amount of $57,500. And I so move.
So thank you. Moved by Deputy Mayor Kiley, and looking for and it's going to be seconded, please. Councillor Lane, good with you. Thank you very much. And this is accordance with just with the MOU, and it's already in the budget. So perhaps I'll just move to the motion. All in favor? Contrary-minded? And that's carried. Thanks.
That leads me to my last item, which is an information note, and quite the note indeed. When we think about October, there's lots of things, pumpkin spice lattes, fall foliage, cool, crisp in the air, but of course, it's the haunting and beautiful decorations, and specifically one that's happening in Powers Pond. And I'm so happy to bring attention to the annual Halloween-themed community event that's designed to offer residents a safe, family-friendly outdoor experience. And the event features decorating walking trails, lighting effects, costume volunteers, and theme displays positioned around Powers Pond. And the event really has become a signature fall attraction for residents, and drawing significant attendance each year and encouraging community engagement across multiple age groups, mine included. So this year we have 3 different categories of Halloween, pending your scare preference. So I'm going to bring you through it. One is our spine tingling adventure with just enough fright to make your hair stand on end, but not run away from screaming. I'm sorry, this is wonderfully written. Perfect for the brave souls of all ages. So listed here, we have October the 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, 23rd, 25th, and 26th, all from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m., except for Sunday on the 26th, which ends at 9. Then we've got, of course, our moderately exciting experience with some jump scares, but recommended for those who can handle a surprise and/or 2. Those are on the 17th, 20th, and 24th, again, 7 to 10 p.m. And finally, which I really love seeing this as also a real great inclusion and diverse lens. There's a sensory-friendly evenings as well, so gentler experiences, perfect for young visitors and those with sensory needs. Those are happening the 18th, 19th, 23rd, 25th, and 26th, and most of those are happening during the day between 2 and 5 p.m. And the Haunting of Powers Pond will start, actually, it had already begun, October 17th. And its final night will be Sunday, October 26th. And I can attest by some of the Facebook pictures already that some of our counselors have already attended with a scare or 2. So I'm looking forward to visiting myself maybe once or twice. And I'm going full super scare mode. So just going to put that out there. I challenge others.
Good stuff. Powers Pond continues, and I want to give a big shout out not only to the recreation leads we have with the city on the supervision and lead of Jason Collins, but also Public Works, who practically have adopted the place because it's right next to the depot, and otherwise the place would have gone to the dogs, the dog park next door. But Glenn, to you and your crowd, Jason to yours, and everybody else who supported this, it's great. I don't think they want food donations, but they would love to have monetary donations for the food bank because it offers, at the end of the day, the purchasing power of those donations will allow people at the food banks to buy more fresh, more healthy ingredients for those in need. So thank you, Deputy Mayor. Community Safety, no report tonight. We are moving to engineering. Councillor Rice.
Thank you, Worship. Our first one on our agenda is our request for funding application for which is CHIF for Greenwood Wood Crescent upgrade. So the background on this one is, just give me 1 second, I get it upgraded here. So the proposed project consists of a full upgrading of Greenwood Crescent, including removal and replacement of the sanitary sewer, storm sewer and water distribution system, curb, gutter and sidewalk, and asphalt plus property reinstatement. Existing servicing on the street is at the end of its useful life and must be replaced to ensure safe, reliable servicing for both existing and future residents. The proposed upgrades will result in increased capacity, which will directly support future residential development on that street and that whole area. This aligns with the purpose of the CHIF program. So the department recommends that council approve submission of an application for funding to the Government of Newfoundland and Labrador, Department of Transportation and Infrastructure, Municipal Infrastructure Division under the Canada Housing Infrastructure Fund, which is a CHIF, a provincial territorial stream, for the Green Road Crescent upgrading in the amount of $6,456,765.13, which includes HST, and I so move.
Moved by Councillor Rice, thank you, and seconded by Councillor Antal. So I have a question, and I don't miss many council meetings, but where did Greenwood come from? We're over on, is it Barber we're doing? Which one are we doing half of there? We're Newtown. So we're doing half of Jackman. So why wouldn't we, with our continued volley towards government for more CHIF funding, why are we now doing Greenwood when we're going to have half of Jackman unfinished, right? Because I think in that particular case, we didn't have the purchasing power to complete Jackman within that particular budget year. I'm just trying to get a sense where Greenwood came from, because I know our asset management is pretty robust, but I was really under the understanding, and council, just please indulge me, I'm just trying to figure out how this is coming to council perhaps in a new way, but why aren't we finishing Jackman and maybe moving to Barber? So I don't know whether to turn to director or the CAO, and they're going to look at each other, and I guess CAO Rido. Thank you.
And Scott, please jump in if I miss anything here. Well, Mayor, it's a good point, and council will see the tender close and award recommendation coming on Jackman shortly. But Jackman was an ISIP project, and you can't stack Jackman and under ISIP and CHIF at the same, or CHIF at the same time. So the rationale for Greenwood, honestly, is in line with the capacity building nature of the CHIF application in the program. So Barber is not an option for CHIF because it's not capacity building. So from our perspective, when we look at, and unfortunately they're confidential until they're brought to the council chamber, but when we look at development that's ongoing and proposed for what would now feed off of that application, and for CHIF, that is where we're seeing the alignment with that funding amount. So further, I'll just also make note that under CHIF, and this program closes for application this fall, we already have our first priority submitted, which is under this program, which is Holden, which council passed a motion for, and our second application most likely will be to support the upgrade for capacity in the regional water line. So this would be a priority 3 in our application process, just of note.
Can I just inquire about what is the private or the confidential nature that you just referred to? Because this is just coming to our table today, and I think we're supportive. So I'd like to hear commentary on that, and also on or further about the capacity building that we're doing there. Obviously, we're looking more long-term for development, right?
No, it's a great question, and not to be cryptic at all, it's not the intent, but we have active discussions with developers in a pre-application status, often in advance of them coming to the public chamber. So there are some developments in discussion that would require upgrade to essentially achieve the capacity needed for high density or medium density residential development. So that is what I'm referring to. But the difference here that we see in an ISIP versus like a CHIF application, for example, is CHIF has to be a direct correlation to increasing capacity in the system related to development. So whereas in ISIP we could completely renovate or overhaul the underground infrastructure and above ground infrastructure to do just a infrastructure replacement or upgrade. Under CHIF you have to demonstrate capacity growth. So for us, we can't just say here's a street that's required upgrade if there's no possible planned unlocking of development opportunity on that street. So that's why essentially what we have done in this round 3 of CHIF application is go down through the priority list in line with the asset management plan and say this connection we're talking about now that's tabled at the public council meeting is essentially to say this is the next in line that directly aligns with what would be required under CHIF. I'll go further to just give you an example. It's down to if you under CHIF replace, for example, the underground water infrastructure, but that doesn't it's in the street, not in the sidewalk, you can't replace the sidewalk under CHIF. It's that strict in terms of the program qualification. So we are essentially trying to make our money work the hardest for us and give us the largest opportunity for cost shared.
Thank you very much. I'm going to move to Councillor, Deputy Mayor Kiley, and then Councillor Antle.
So I'm just going to take us out of that particular conversation, but just a quick question around the note here around accessibility and inclusion, which is great to see in this particular project. And I'm referring to obviously the request of funding as it stands right here. And it says design will incorporate barrier-free features such as curb ramps and tactile indicators where appropriate. Just wondering if you could speak a little bit about that, perhaps, Director.
Yes, sure. So going forward, any of our capital infrastructure upgrade projects are going to be done with a lens on accessibility and inclusion. So around the city and a lot of places on the Avalon, curbs and curb cuts, not designed with accessibility in mind. So if we want to make our money work for us, like Cassie said, so if we're going to be replacing it, we're going to be replacing it the proper way with the proper curb cuts, the proper slopes on our ramps, tactile indicators, colored concrete, things like that, so that we're doing it right the first time.
Great to hear, and thank you for answering that.
Over to you. Thank you, everybody. And over to you, Councillor Antle.
Oh, thank you. When I saw this Greenwood Crescent, I was kind of excited about this because we do have 2 developments on that road that we proposed. We just recommended 53 Greenwood. That was a housing development that we just approved that. We're just waiting for the development. And if I remember correctly, the next Columbus property on the bottom, there was a development proposal for that. So this really fits into, there's lots of opportunities coming on that street, and we really need that done. So I think this is a good idea. I mean, let's hope we get it. Thank you. And it's 30-cent dollars, so it's good from corporate finance.
Yeah, they're good. They're all good ideas, but there's other priorities out there too, right? So I just want to make sure that when we speak to it, and it was a good clarification of ISIP versus CHIF. But have a look, guys, at the decision note, and I think there needs to be. We're trying to do this in a new way, and I think I think that's the level of detail might have to change for public council meetings. But I'll ask the CIO this: that likely, if there wasn't an election, would have gone to committee of the whole first, which is open to the public. There might have been a more detailed discussion.
We are definitely working towards a public committee of the whole in the future. Right now, we're still in a standard committee of the whole process. So absolutely, Mayor, typically the process is to bring forward cost shared agreements in advance so council gets the opportunity to discuss. I certainly appreciate that opportunity in the public chamber based on the time sensitivities of the application process. But fundamentally, the idea here is to ensure that we are working through the high priority items from an infrastructure readiness perspective to capitalize on the HAF program. Sorry, the CHIF program.
Anybody else? Sorry, Councillor Locke.
Yeah, I fully agree with what CEO was saying, and this might be growing pains from the new process, where typically we would have seen this at committee of the whole from a standing committee brought to us. We would have had a chance to read it and ask questions in advance, but in light of our new process, I fully understand. We know that we have a robust, to use your words, Mayor, asset management. Our staff know the priorities of council, and I think they've done a great job looking at what's on our asset management list and finding the best fit to maximize our opportunity to achieve this CHIF funding. So I fully support the recommendation here. Thank you.
Thank you. What's the deadline for submission?
This Friday.
Tomorrow, is it Friday?
Yep.
Yeah, because the decision note was only prepared yesterday. So I guess there's where the timeline gets compacted because of some of the recent events. But we need to have a chat, I don't know how we do this, about timelines, because these are large amounts and there are many priorities. And to Councillor Locke's point, I'm always going to bounce off that asset management list. And the question then becomes, does that list change because of CHIF? And maybe it does. So is there another ISIP program in the offing?
That's a great question. In fact, Councillor Locke is attending FCM board meetings upcoming, and that's one of the questions I've asked if he's able to raise at FCM, because we don't currently have a replacement strictly for ISIP. And unfortunately, that means that we have reduced existing infrastructure funding opportunities outside of multi-year.
I shall call the question. All in favor? And those opposed? And that is carried.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, and thank you, CEO Rideout and Director Batt, because I know good questions on both ends, on both sides, and good answers. And I think all of us were thinking, you know, why we were going that direction. But after the explanation, I can see why we're going there. But going forward, I'd certainly like to have us, myself and all council, like to have, you know, an updated list on our asset management, you know, because at least then we'll know what's coming around the table. So with the new process, it's going to take us a little while to get used to this, but I'm sure we'll all work together to make sure it works out. So our next one is our capital works update, and this is for information purposes only here. So we have the updated here. We got our Farrell Drive Pump House upgrades. The construction is ongoing up in that area. Our asphalt and concrete tender construction is ongoing. It's 50% complete. 2025 concrete work tender, works tender is construction is ongoing, 50% complete. Under our White Boulevard upgrades, construction is planned to continue into December. Hopefully the weather will stay as it is now, and we'll get some work up there and some all of our groundwork and underneath the ground completed. This extension beyond October the 15th is required to maintain a project schedule and to avoid delays with achieving the 2026 completion targets. Under our sewage lift station, which is our Mount Carson Avenue area, construction is ongoing. Anticipated completion is the end of January 2026. Our Farrell Road, Topsail Road to Evans Place, construction is complete. Minor deficiencies remaining. Our Jackman Drive upgrades, contract recommendation pending. Under our Water Tower Access Road, the tender is closed on October the 16th. 2025, and our water storage tank, our design build tender closes October the 22nd, which is tomorrow for 2025. And under our Glencoe culvert replacement, construction is ongoing. Our target completion early December 2025. And under a T-rail crossing, Commonwealth Avenue, concrete work remaining, our concrete work starting in late October. And that's it for our report. No, we got, yep, that's it. Thank you, Worship. That's it for our report.
No, well delivered. Final question on that to Councillor Antle then.
Guess what I'm going to ask? The Trailway Crossing. It says concrete work is starting in late October. We've got to get it done eventually. But are we going to have it finished this year, or is this? There. I'm getting questioned that too, yeah.
We are really trying to get that finished this year. The concrete work on either side of Commonwealth is going to be started within the next 2 weeks. Other than that, we are trying to find the best path forward. We don't want to have it start in the winter months just for the sake of it. But that being said, we want to have it proceed as quickly as possible. So if the weather cooperates, yes, it will be operational this year.
But don't we have the lights already ordered, or the lights and poles, aren't that already ordered?
Yeah, so we have a lot of that equipment already procured or arrangements in place to have it on site and ready. Right now, we're just in talks with contractors about we're in the tendering process or solicitation of quotes to get the remaining work complete. But we've done the legwork up front to make sure the materials are available.
No, it seems like it's dragging on. This was announced in budget, and now it's the end of October, and, you know, we still haven't got it done yet. You know, we announced it a little while ago, and, you know, even throughout the election time, I wouldn't talk about it too much because we're dragging on so much. You know, I certainly hope it's done this year. I mean, I don't want to do budget next year and say, well, this is ongoing, because that was last year's budget. And that's where I'm coming from, sorry.
See how committee of the whole and the public are going to change. Anything else? Over to you. Thank you, everybody. Over to you, Councillor Locke, for planning and development.
Thank you, Mayor. There's two items here, and both are for information. So the first has to do with our development permit listing. And you can see, I think there's 10 listed there. These are the development permit listings from August the 11th of 2025 to October the 10th of 2025. And again, you can read down through those. If there's any questions, we'll certainly answer. And then the next one is the occupancy permit listing for August the 11th to December the 10th of 2025. And outlined there, you can see 20 during this time period. And you can see the locations, civic numbers, and the dates that they were issued. And if there's any questions, we'll answer any questions. And that's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you much. We've come to the end, near the end of our first eScribe Council meeting. I want to say Duane Pico a great job. I love the fact that the blue button turns on when everything is active, and the minutes are done. I won't say finished, but you can really tell where we're to. So thanks very much for all the training and the investment we've made in this to make our meetings more efficient. It is easier, Council, isn't it, to follow along. So the roundtable tonight is, let's restrict ourselves, if we could, to maybe some reminiscing about the election. But I do want to say to staff, thank you for the last 4 years. And we look forward to working with you all in the next 4 years to come. And we had great success. And that's usually because of our, the importance we place on communication and planning at the end of the day. But I'm going to start tonight, election reminiscing, Mark Rice.
Put me on the spot now right away. I got a couple of small items here. So, well, as you know, we had, when we were all campaigning, I'm sure we had a list of all stuff, but I'm not going to go through that full list tonight because we'll be here another hour. But anyway, one of the big things I want to speak about, actually, and I'm going to start off this one with a bang this year because it's been an issue in our city for a long time since I've been on council, and it's increasingly getting worse and worse every year. And it's speeding in our city. I've talked to many residents in the city on my campaign trails, and I covered a lot of area in the city this election time for around 6 or 7 weeks. Not only speeding on our streets, but also our trail network. People are not walking on our trail network anymore, and I spoke to many senior residents that use the trail network all the time. A lot of them are after getting knocked down by you would not believe most of the problems are adults on mountain bikes and bikes, not the kids. So you know, even though we got a problem on our trailways with right away and who's supposed to be on what side and walking in groups, but getting back to the speeding in our city, Brant Drive, we had a big issue up on Brant, and I was a very strong advocate for the residents up in that area in that street. I met with many residents up there. And I'm glad we got our traffic calming policy. We're going in the right direction. And I know there's a lot of work done with staff and with our municipal enforcement and with the RNC. I'd like for those communications to continue. But I'd also like for us to look at other avenues of speeding controls. And I'm going to bring this one back up again. I brought it up many times since I've been on council, about 3- and 4-way stop signs. They're on LaSalle Drive right now. We got a 3-way stop sign on LaSalle. LaSalle was noted as a speeding area, and when that was done up there, we put a 3-way stop sign up in that area, and it works. I mean, I know it's not a traffic calming measure. And also on my street, on Casters Drive, we got a 3-way stop sign right in front of my house. And I know that people do slow down there. They don't come to a complete stop, but most people do. So I want to put this on the radar again for discussion. I always look at Mount Pearl as a city of leadership, as a city of people follow us, people do what we do, and people always look at the city of Mount Pearl as they always say, okay, if we're looking at the way we do stuff, we look at what the city of Mount Pearl is doing. So in a leadership role, I think we can improve. I think we can do better. And I spoke to many residents. We got a severe, major speeding issue in our city. all around. We got to put our heads together going forward, and we got to do something about it. So, and the last one I want to speak on is the engineering of the city and our engineering in the city. We are in crisis mode now in a lot of areas, trying to get our work completed before the frost and snow and gets. I just want to say to residents and council and everybody, be patient. I've had lots of calls over the last 2 or 3 weeks on my campaign trails. We're doing the best we can. We got our engineering crew on site, assessing the areas and trying to communicate and work with our contractors. It's not an easy task, but we're trying to do the best we can to move forward and make sure those areas are done and are Class A and stone and rock and crushed stone and stuff put down so we can move forward. So that's it. So be patient, and I'm sure it'll all work out. That's it for me. That's my rant.
That's a good rant. But I will add that, yeah, we have developed some, and to my point earlier on about communications and planning, we planned ahead for this. So Councilor Rice, you're quite right with the traffic calming policy. We have some methodology, and maybe we need to give that a little bit of a shot for a time or 2 or 3, but I think it's really, safety is always going to be really important. So thank you. Over to you, Councilor Lane.
Thank you very much. While I'm not going to discuss any, I guess, direct issues that were brought to my attention at the doors, I've already communicated those with staff, and I trust that they are in very capable hands with that. I just wanted to take a moment to thank the residents of Mount Pearl for electing me once again. I spent quite a lot of time, actually, I've spent just short under 2 months knocking on doors and chatting with residents and sharing in their concerns. It's been an honor to be re-elected because I think that residents see that I've worked really hard over the last 4 years. I think I've been elected on my own merits and what I have to offer the city, and I will always continue to share my own voice and advocate for residents and our city and what best suits Mount Pearl. And I also just wanted to thank our staff for putting off such a flawless process with the election. There was definitely setbacks with the Canada Post strike and such, but it's great to be back. So thank you very much to residents of Mount Pearl, and I'm glad to be here again, once again, to serve.
Thank you, Councilor Lane. A great example in brevity, I must say. Thank you. Over to you, Councilor Fry.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. It's really a privilege to be sitting around this table with you all here tonight. And I must say, I really enjoyed the campaign. It was such a great experience to be able to talk with our residents and find out what matters to them. It's almost like a good personal survey of sorts. So I know go forward, we have lots of information. I know I'm not supposed to do this, but without talking more about me, I just wanted to congratulate our Youth of the Year, Fallon McLaughlin, because she's going to be representing Canada at the 25th Summer Deaf Olympics in Tokyo, Japan, in November. So these games mark the 100th anniversary of the Deaf Olympics, with more than 80 countries participating. And Fallon is not only the youngest female athlete on the Canadian roster, but also the only Newfoundlander to compete. So we just want to wish her best of luck in Tokyo. And that's it for me, Your Worship. Thank you.
Councilor Fry. Over to you, Councilor Locke.
Thank you, Mayor. Just further to Councillor Rice's commentary on speeding, in my, 6 election campaigns, speeding has been, if not the #1 item. It's certainly been up there. And I think we have taken great measures. Many of the residents I spoke with did appreciate our new traffic calming policy. And they also, many times I spoke with folks and said they have to report it. You have to report. If you don't report, the data aren't there to support us when we ask for additional resources. So that's there as well. I just want to, it was mentioned earlier, I'm off to FCM. The Board of Directors of FCM meets Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of next week. It's called Advocacy Days. So we have meetings with, I think, 75 plus MPs, federal MPs from across the country, across party stripe. So I reached out to CAO to ask, because she's in consultation with other CEOs. I think that they have weekly meetings on Mondays, just to get a feel for the key issues that they would like me to advocate on their behalf, and certainly the CHIF funding and ISIP funding and other items, so I'll happily bring those forward. I will end, Mayor, I do know that at the swearing-in ceremony, you graciously acknowledged each of the council candidates, and you spoke to our strengths and our accomplishments, but no one had the opportunity to speak to you. I know you always call me the old fogey around the table. I've been here for 18 years, but you've been here for 16 years as well. And I just want to publicly state that I fully appreciate working with you. I respect what you do. It's not an easy task to be a leader, of a council, of a city. And I tell people all the time that you are motivated not by ego, not by advancement, but for the betterment of our city. And I want to congratulate you on being acclaimed once again as our mayor, and I look forward to working with you over the next 4 years. Thank you, Mayor. That's it.
Jeez, what timing is that? No, thank you, Councillor Locke. And then we're a team of 7 great leaders, I must admit. And I look at the other people around the room from staff. There's a lot of leadership in this room and working together. And remember that theme, planning and communication. It's served us well in the past. But thank you, Councillor Locke. Over to you, Deputy Mayor Kiley.
Thank you, Your Worship. It's really great to hear similar sentiments of gratitude and appreciation and passion that seems like everybody had brought to their campaigns, or hearing for what's at the door to talk about that, and gratitude for and I think I need to share that as well with first and foremost the city. Yes, absolutely. The work that went into the election and being able to pivot with every kind of issue that may arise that, is outside of our control, to all of the candidates that put their hat in the ring once more. That is never an easy endeavor. And to all of my elected colleagues, that now we're beginning again, and I'm so looking forward to the work that we can build upon that we have done over the past 4 years. And to the directors and staff and the CAO and everybody, the entire team of the city, that I know the work and efforts that we and the vision that we are putting forward, that requires a lot of work and behind the scenes. And I just want to say I can't wait, and I appreciate what you've done, and to be working with you moving forward. And that's where I'm going to leave it. It's just gratitude. I should say friends and family and volunteers too. Everyone's friends and family and volunteers, how they filled your cup and everything else in all the days of the campaign.
Thank you very much. I guess we're finished for the night. Councillor Antle, you get the finale. And if anything was said tonight, now you get this,
I was gonna
you
be
get the
like,
far back.
one of the Academy Awards to get up and they thank everybody, and and the music going off. I thought that was it. Well, I won't. I really won't. Everybody said enough. It's great to get us all back again. The 8 of us again. It's great. 8 of us, 7 of us. I was counting everybody then. It's been a long day. But you know what? I think we all heard a lot of stuff at the doors, and like Chelsea, I'm gonna hold off and I'll pass it along. But one of the things I found is, people, most times when we were knocking at doors, I talked to other candidates, and maybe we had to address this at M&L, Jim. I talked to other towns, other councillors in other regions. They can knock on the doors. People say they want to talk to us, and we say we're going to get out and reach. Well, the councillor never knocked on my door. A candidate never knocked on my door. And I knocked on many, many doors, and I talked to all of them. They all did the same thing. And people being watching TV, and you'd ring the doorbell, and they'd look at the doorbell and see the doorbell cam, and they'd say, I'm not getting up. But, I don't know what the issue was. But I talked to others, and people were telling me the same thing was happening. Jim got 100%. But it was so frustrating. People say, you want them to talk to your candidate, but, if the people don't answer the door, we can't get out. And I talked to people in other towns, and it was one of the issues they have. I don't know how we can address that moving forward, but sometimes it's a little frustrating. You're trying to get up. But I really enjoyed it, and glad to have you. I'm back. I really enjoyed it. Thanks, guys.
No, thank you. We're in good shape, I think. And I know today I'm going to finish on a slightly different note. She doesn't even know I'm going to say this, but I think our Director of Corporate Services, she spoke at a conference today involving women. Would you like to tell us a little bit about that, Director Mullins, as we close the meeting, please?
Oh, thank you very much. I wasn't expecting that. No, I did. I had the honor to speak at a Women in Leadership Conference today at the Delta, and it was a great day of women celebrating each other in their leadership journeys, learning and sharing and growing. It was filled with just great practical takeaways and demonstrating that there's all types of leadership and we all have similar experiences. And it's important to share and support each other as we are, working to further women in leadership. And also, it's important to make sure that we reach down and lift up. We have women, daughters, and they are coming behind us, and it's important that we make sure that we provide them with the support to be the great leaders of our future. So I was very, very thankful to have the opportunity to speak there, and I spoke about managing conflict in a leadership role. And after 20 years of working in many different unionized environments in different capacities, it was a topic I felt quite comfortable in speaking to. So it was a great day, and thank you for asking about it.
No, thank you for all you do and welcome back, everybody. I gotta get that mic fixed. So therefore, we are at the end of our first public council meeting, or second one, I guess, of this term. So I'm going to call for a motion. Thank you, Councillor Fry and Councillor Lane. We are adjourned.